incredible run of success, like you said, in just about every sport. Matt Botsford for that volleyball program has built quite a juggernaut. They're going to win well over 30 games again this year. So a busy week here at Fort Myers. We've got basketball and volleyball overlapping. Of course, the winter sports as a whole getting underway here in November. Here's the takeaway for FGCU. Hannah dribbling across half court, goes to the wing. Chandler Ryan jukes out the defender, misses the three. Ryan, though, able to get it back. Hannah driving left, able to avoid the defender, but missed the layup. That was McDuffie on the rebound. Ayulo stopped her dribble, skip pass, and the jumper no good. Rebound to Cox.
Give credit to the Wildcats, John. They're still working hard.
Yeah, this is not turned into as ugly of a score as it could have been at halftime, coming out of halftime.
No, they are executing on offense, and they're having it paying off for them on the scoreboard this game.
Another offensive rebound for FGCU, but it's actually been the Wildcats who have won the rebounding battle tonight. Bryant's runner is good.
Yeah, as you looking forward now, going forward, if you have any weak spot at all with the Eagles, it's got to be their foul shooting. They're only shooting 60% from the foul line, and that is an area that will be vital in most games against top-notch opponents. So they've got to get better at that. I know when I'm a team that shot below 70%, we used to do stunts on the foul line to give us a better chance at getting the offensive rebound when we missed the foul shot.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot coaches could do, right? I mean,
No.
Can you simulate,
You
different
practice
colors
every day. Yeah, you practice the shots every day. But we would stunt on a foul shot so that the two offensive players in the lane, one would dive to the opposite block, and the other one would loop around the top. And we got a lot of offensive rebounds because, and obviously, we would get maybe 4 to 6 points a game that way. But the reason you get those points is because you're a lousy foul shooting team. So you want to fix the first thing first. Make the foul shot. You don't have to worry about the miss.
4:06 to go in this ball game. We'll be back here on ESPN Plus.
Well, you've got a couple of turnovers, but for the most part, they've executed well, and they have really maintained the intensity on defense, which is important.
Chandler Ryan just a bit off the mark. FGCU has had 8 different players hit three-pointers in this game. They've got 12, or rather 16 as a team. So it's a big day for the entire team today. They've got a chance to get 5 or 6 players in the double digits when it's all said and done. The bench has acquitted themselves well tonight. There's a long three-pointer and it's hit. That was Lexi Jackson, her first 3 of the night.
I think in some ways the Wildcats of Johnson and Wales have to feel good about how well they really maintain their effort and their intensity and their toughness tonight. They're still playing hard, and they're out of the game for sure. They're not going to win it. But this is going to be a great learning experience for this team, too, as they go forward.
They've only been outscored by 3 here in the second half, so it's been a much tighter matchup.
Well, and they'll get back to their level of play in the next game on their schedule, and they'll be a contender in the Suncoast Conference.
I want a bit off the mark by Liss, and Dowling will come back in. Gene Dowling, the junior from Chicago, went to Trinity High School. He was able to hit a 3 earlier.
The only player in double figures is the girl who we mentioned as a player to watch, Diana Ayulo. 17 points. She had the Eagles, you can say this, they've held her to 17 because last year she had 25 against the Eagles.
Well, we saw a dynamic ability to score the ball from Ayulo, who's shooting 50%, 7 for 14 for the night. That one deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with FGCU, but a much bigger game's coming up in the next few weeks for this FGCU women's program. They go to Cancun, Mexico to play back-to-back games. at the Riviera Maya, and they got Notre Dame, South Florida, and South Dakota State, a very good mid-major program. So no easy matchups down in Mexico next week as the floater falls for Ayshia Scott.
Yeah, the next couple of weeks are going to be real tough and challenging for the Eagles. So tonight's a great way to bounce back from the loss, get that loss out of your system, and go back to work. Probably practicing over at Florida Southwest for the rest of the week with the volleyball tournament being played here, and then they'll play that game Friday, and then they're off to. They're not taking us with them, are they? With them to Cancun, we're not getting to go there.
We got to see what we can do. We got to get on that flight one way or another.
We lobby for that one, yeah.
Flow Hoops has that tournament, it looks like, but who knows? Not a bad place to be this time of year, and a lot of basketball teams coming down to Florida as well for those Thanksgiving tournaments.
Why wouldn't you? If you look at the temperature up north, why wouldn't you want to come here and play?
Well, like you said earlier, that might be the best recruiter that the Eagles have, is the palm trees and the pools here on campus.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
The men are actually hosting a Thanksgiving tournament right here at Alico Arena the weekend of Thanksgiving. They'll play back-to-back games against pretty good mid-major opponents, so that's a big three-game stretch for both the men's and the women's program.
That'll be an important stretch for the men's to get on track.
I hope they can get on track tomorrow night. You'll be on the call for that 7:30 here on ESPN Plus as the FAU Owls come to town. The Eagles had a close game with UMBC that they let slip away at the ends in their only home game so far this year.
And don't forget, FAU's won the last two games against the Eagles, so it'll be a big game tomorrow night for the Eagles.
Make sure to tune in less than 24 hours from now. FAU and FGCU. Final minute here in Fort Myers, one more three on the way. Offensive rebound, put back no good, but a foul called underneath. And Alexis McLean will have a chance to add to her stat line. 7 points for her so far. Once again, no broadcast of that Friday game against St. Francis. And then the tournament down in Cancun. So our next broadcast of FGCU women's basketball will be on December 9th. Florida Memorial, another NAIA school coming to the nest here at Alico Arena.
I'll be right next to you. Sitting right next to you for that one.
Another ASUN-Sun conference matchup there, as that one is deflected out of bounds. And the Wildcats will get another opportunity here with 26.5 on the clock. And you see, Pete, the rare time where there's a shot clock on with 26 seconds to go off of an out-of-bounds play because it was an offensive team rebound. So the shot clock, which was off, is now back on.
Yes.
And so they'll have to pull the trigger here before FGCU dribbles it out. They'll fall short of their 109-point total recorded last year against this Johnson & Wales team. So credit the Wildcats for playing much better in the second half.
Absolutely. And it looks like, unless it's just the formation of the offensive scheme of the Wildcats, it looks like the Eagles are playing a little zone defense here at the end of the game.
Why not mix it up here for
a
couple possessions? Jumper off the back iron. They battle for the rebounds along the baseline, and the Eagles will retain possession.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure working with you tonight, and I'll tell you this, it's a shame that we only got to see one record tonight instead of breaking the 109 scoring record, but it was great to see Ty Adderley get in the record books as the all-time greatest rebounder in the history of the school.
Yeah, history made tonight, that's the story. Tatiana Adderley with her 888th rebound, which is the all-time record. Pete, it's been a pleasure. Our next broadcast will be in a couple of weeks, but you got the men tomorrow night.
Yeah, we hope we have as much fun and everybody's just as happy tomorrow night as they are tonight, even Alico.
Carl Semesco, the head coach for the Eagles, will join us in just a moment. For the Johnson & Wales Wildcats, led by Kimberly Hope, they can use tonight as a learning experience and get ready for their next matchup, which will be against Kaiser University. That's a home game over in North Miami. at 2 p.m. on Saturday. So they dropped their first game of the season tonight, but just an exhibition for the Wildcats. Now we welcome in the head coach of your FGCU Eagles, Carl Semesco. Coach, after a tough one on Sunday, is this what you hope to see from your team today?
There were definitely